Hi everyone, it's Wendy, starting my day off by getting my breakfast going first thing this morning. I batch cook steel cut oats about once a week and it lasts me about 5 days. I used up my last batch yesterday, so last night I set everything out so I could just dump it and go this morning. I'll put a link here for the video where I show exactly how I make my oatmeal. Then, while that's cooking, I'll go and do a little bit of yoga and my physical therapy. I was having numbness and tingling in my hands along with elbow pain for the past couple of months, so my doctor recommended physical therapy. The physical therapist really only recommended one nerve glide exercise, so I've been doing that, but I also consulted with Eileen Kopsoftis. I first learned of her from Chef AJ, and if you're not familiar with her, she has her own YouTube channel, which I'll link below. Eileen is a physical therapist who focuses on assessing the whole body in three-plane function rather than only looking at the location of the injury. And after assessing me, she gave me a few exercises for my hips and thoracic spine because I had some limitations that seemed to originate from there. These exercises pre-position the body in particular ways and then you move in the three planes. It looks a little silly, but in just a few days, I already noticed some changes in my body. So hopefully I'll continue to see improvements. After I'm done with those exercises, I'm going to do a little more food prep before I start work. My oatmeal is done cooking, but I'm letting that sit while I make a salad for my lunch. When I used to work in the office, I would have done this the night before. But since I work from home now, I often get my lunch ready in the morning because without the commute, I have a little extra time. I'm chopping up some mixed greens, cucumbers, celery, tomatoes, onions, and bell peppers. I'll set that in the fridge and I'll throw the rest of my lunch together later. Then I'll make my breakfast smoothie. Today I'm using purple cabbage, and I always try to prep as much stuff ahead as I possibly can to make my whole food plant-based lifestyle easier to maintain. So I washed, chopped up, and measured out my cabbage last night. To that, I'm adding frozen cherries, apples, and bananas. I always check my cherries because even though they're supposed to be pitted, I find one occasionally. I'm also adding some ginger, which I keep in the freezer, so I'll just grate a little bit of that into my smoothie and I blend this up with water. Then I'll finish up my oatmeal. On the days that I batch cook, I scoop out one portion for that day and mix it with blueberries most often. Then I transfer the rest to a storage container and let it cool before storing in the fridge. Finally, for my portion for today, I'll top it with some ground flaxseed. I'll eat my oatmeal and then get to work while I finish my smoothie. Most of the time I like to work standing up so I can move around a little more, because if I sit, I get lots of tension in my shoulders. But even standing, I still get quite tense, so I'm trying to be better about taking frequent breaks to stretch out and make sure I'm not staying in one position for too long. It's lunchtime now, and I'm grabbing the salad that I prepped this morning along with a few other ingredients. I've got this pre-cooked quinoa that I order online. It's really convenient for when I've run out of cooked grains and I don't have time to make a new batch. And even though I'm going to be putting it on my cold salad, I like to warm it up first just to make the salad a little more interesting. Along with that, I also have some kidney beans that I roasted the other day. I seasoned them with chili powder, smoked paprika, dry mustard, and granulated onion and garlic. Finally, I'll add some hemp seeds and balsamic vinegar and mix everything together. Then, I also like to eat potatoes with pretty much every meal, so I try to always keep some prepped in the fridge. Right now, I have these Yukon Golds and some different sweet potatoes. Today, I'm going to have a purple sweet potato. They're so pretty and so tasty. After I finished my lunch, I also had a brownie. I recently shared this recipe and I'll put a link to that video. I made multiple batches while filming the video, so I still had some leftovers, and I highly recommend trying it. It's so sweet and fudgy. And after I eat this, it'll be back to work for a few more hours. As I often do, I went to have dinner at my parents' house today, and we had breakfast for dinner. My mom and I made a breakfast pizza that's a healthier version of one of my favorite meals as a kid. We used to make a breakfast pizza that was extremely delicious, but also extremely unhealthy. The crust was made out of crescent roll dough that we laid out and pressed together to make a flaky, buttery, thin crust. Then we topped it with about a pound of ground sausage, tons of scrambled eggs, and a pound of shredded cheese. It was so good, and you definitely got a high while eating it. But then came what I like to call the food hangover. But with our whole food plant-based version, we get all of the enjoyment of the same flavors without the food hangover. So this version is made with a homemade whole wheat pizza crust, then a very thin layer of my cheesy sauce just to help the toppings stick. Next, we took a block of firm tofu, crumbled it up, and mixed it with some scrambled tofu spices before spreading it over the crust. And for the sausage flavor, I used this veggie sausage ground recipe from Javant's Healthy Vegan Eating YouTube channel. I'll put a link for his recipe in the details below the video. It's super tasty and nutritious as it's made out of a ton of vegetables. Last but not least, we spread my cheesy sauce all over the top and bake it until the crust is cooked through. Along with that, we had some hash brown potatoes and a salad. After dinner, I headed back to my house, and tonight I'm giving myself a haircut. I've always hated going to the hair salon, and during COVID, when everything was shut down, I started cutting my own hair. Ever since then, I've just been doing it myself. If I wanted to do anything fancy with my hair, I would still have to go to a stylist, but for now, I'm just keeping my simple, long hairstyle, so it's pretty easy for me to maintain myself. I usually take my showers in the evening, so that's the perfect time to cut my hair while it's still wet. And then, after that, I'll probably read a book and then go to bed. I hope you all enjoyed hanging out with me today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. And for the sausage flavor, I use this veggie sausage. I use this veggie sausage. Why can't I say sausage?